5 ways to work out your bangle size with equations. Today I'm looking at 5 different methods you can use to measure your bangle size and working out which ones work the best and which ones don't. Starting with the bangle sizer method. This method is really simple. Take a bangle sizer and keep trying the different sizes until you find the one that fits your wrist or the wrist of your customer. Measure the internal diameter using a vernier gauge. Add to it the thickness of the metal wire or sheet you're going to use to make your bangle, and then multiply that figure by pi. The total is the length of wire you need to cut to make that size of bangle. The bangle sizer method is essentially as accurate as it can get, so rest assured if you have one of these at your disposal, you won't have a problem. But obviously not everybody has a bangle sizer, so it's good to know that there are other options as well. Next up, the paper method. Use a scalpel and a cutting board or a pair of scissors to cut a long strip of paper. Then create a point with your hand, as if you're putting on a bangle, and wrap the piece of paper around the widest part across your knuckles. Mark the point where the strip of paper crosses over itself with a pen. Measure that length with a ruler, and that is your bangle circumference. Divide that circumference by pi to give you the diameter. Then add the thickness of your metal to that figure. Multiply that by pi, and it will give you the length you need to cut for your bangle. Honestly, I don't really love this method. It's really difficult to know how loose or tight to wrap the piece of paper around your hand. So for me, there's a bit too much jeopardy in this. Having said that though, my measurement was only out by 2 millimeters this time, so I guess it worked. The third method is the existing bangle method. This one is genuinely great and fail-safe, especially if you're making a secret gift for somebody and you have access to their jewellery box. Take an existing bangle, pop it onto a ruler, and make a note of the internal diameter. Add the thickness of the metal you're going to use to that number and multiply it by pi, and that's the length you need to cut. This method is actually excellent, and you really can't go wrong. Unless you've stolen somebody's bangle to measure it and they're not wearing it because it didn't fit in the first place. Method 4 is the widest part of the hand method. This is the one I've seen most commonly suggested, and it is to measure the distance across your hand with your hand in a point, as if you're going to put a bangle on. Measure from side to side across the widest part of your hand, and that should be the diameter of your bangle. Add the thickness of your metal to this measurement, multiply it by pi, and you have the length you need to cut for your bangle. I find it really difficult to measure an accurate size using this method. While it might be good for gauging an approximation if you're looking to buy a stock or ready-made item, i.e. small, medium, large, I think it's probably not accurate enough for a custom bangle. If you want to know more about bangle sizing, there's a link in the description to an essential guide to bangles, cuffs and bracelets that you can download. And finally, the knuckle-to-knuckle method. Draw a line on your hand over the centre of the knuckles of your index and pinky fingers, and, keeping your hand in a fist, measure the distance between the two. Add the thickness of your metal to that figure, multiply it by pi, and you have your wire length. I must admit I hadn't tried this method before, so I was surprised to find it was quite accurate. I don't know if it would be for everybody, but for me it gave me a near perfect size. Now that I've tried all these methods, I've made 2 bangles. One using the smaller size from the bangle sizer that I know to be accurate, and the other one using the paper method that is the size that deviates the most from this. Turns out, the sizes really aren't that different. Don't know if you can see that. So all in all, I would say that all of these methods are valid. If there are any techniques or any methods that you use that I haven't mentioned here, let me know in the comments.